The stage is set and the contenders have their gloves up. Each one sizing up the other as they prepare themselves for the ultimate showdown. The road to this day has been an arduous one, and each carries with them a secret weapon. Well, I'm not really regaling some epic battle that is inscribed in Greek mythology, but much rather I'm talking about compact SUVs, which by the way have become as accepted in India as is Dhinchak Puja a celebrity. The contenders emerge from different corners. Weighing in 1195 kgs in the red corner, we have the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza. Next to it is the new Ford EcoSport, which weighs 1304 kgs. And in the blue corner, we have the Tata Nexon, weighing in at 1305 kgs. Well, here being the heavier contender does not necessarily mean you are one up on the competition. There's a lot that needs to be evaluated, so do stay tuned. The dimension and build of all three vehicles are more or less the same. The Ford EcoSport is the longest and the tallest amongst the lot, but only by a small margin when compared to the Vitara Brezza. The Tata Nexon is a good 40 mm shorter in height than the EcoSport. But what the Nexon loses out on height, it compensates for in width. This compact SUV from Tata is 1811 mm wide, which is 46 mm wider than the EcoSport and 21 mm wider than the Vitara Brezza. The EcoSport is hands down a winner when it comes to the wheelbase, which measures in at 2519 mm. That's a good 21 mm longer than the Tata Nexon and 19 mm longer than the Brezza. Speaking just a little more on space, let me mention that both the Nexon and the EcoSport have a nearly identical boot space. The EcoSport being slightly bigger at 352 litres, that is just 2 litres more than the Nexon. The Brezza, when launched, was one of the most competitive offerings, and this was primarily thanks to its feature-loaded package. But the game has moved on from there, and other contenders come very well endowed. Among the three, certain features are common in their top-of-the-line offerings. These include automatic air conditioning, electrically adjustable and retractable ORVMs, push-button start-stop, keyless entry, height-adjustable driver's seat belt, steering-mounted controls, voice commands, rear parking sensors and camera, touchscreen infotainment systems with USB, Bluetooth and aux connectivity, as well as navigation. Both the EcoSport and the Vitara Brezza come with features such as cruise control, rain-sensing wipers and automatic headlamps, which however is missing on the Tata Nexon. Now, we found the driver the most well ensconced in the Tata Nexon, and the driver's point of view as well is the best inside the Tata Nexon, because you have a clear visibility of the road and these really large ORVMs give you a clear visibility of the rear as well. The ride comfort inside the Ford EcoSport is the best amongst the three, and Ford also scores brownie points for providing a tilt as well as a telescopic steering. That is not being provided on either the Vitara Brezza or the Tata Nexon, which both have a tilt adjustable steering. But don't be too quick to judge, because each of these contenders comes with additional features which the others don't have, and that is where the Tata Nexon scores some major points. Tata has gone a few steps ahead with some innovative features and additions on the Nexon. These include drive modes of Eco, Sport and City, a wearable key fob, text and WhatsApp message readout and reply using voice commands for operating climate control, umbrella holders in the doors, a cool glove box, voice alerts for door ajar, seatbelt, low fuel, park brake and service reminder. Tata has taken practicality to the next level with the addition of some of these features, and that does create a sticky situation for its competition. But then again, the Ford EcoSport is offering some safety features which both of the other contenders are not offering at all. Aside from standard ABS with EBD and dual front airbags, Ford is also offering EBA, ESC, TCS and HLA. You don't know what that means? Well, that means electronic brake assist, electronic stability control, traction control system and hill launch assist. It is also offering side and curtain airbags on the top spec EcoSport variant. Even the Ford EcoSport gets some standalone features such as ambient lighting in the footwell, electrochromic IRVM, emergency flashing brake light, dual USB ports and puddle lamps. Visibility of the rear from the inside rearview mirror is the best on the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza. Now, despite having the longest wheelbase, the Ford EcoSport does not necessarily have the most amount of space. Now, in every vehicle, the driver's seat height has been adjusted to my height, which stands at 5'7", and according to that, the knee room in the EcoSport stands at 6 inches, while the headroom stands at 4.5 inches. The cabin of the EcoSport is quite airy, and we found the ride quality in the EcoSport to be the best amongst the lot. Seating in the rear seat as well is pretty comfortable, and the bench is rather flat, so anyone sitting in the middle as well will be comfortable. However, the EcoSport is not the widest amongst the lot, and there is definitely going to be a little fight for space in case you have 3 seated on the rear bench. Now, despite having the shortest wheelbase amongst the lot, the Tata Nexon actually has the most amount of leg room. Leg room measures in at 7.5 inches, so there's plenty of space for me to really stretch out. What adds to the comfort as well are these extended seat squabs, which provide great amount of under thigh support. Back support as well in this rear bench is more than the Brezza as well as the EcoSport, but where it loses out is headroom, which stands at 3.5 inches for my height. The Tata Nexon also scores points for having rear AC vents with an airflow control, which is missing on the Ford EcoSport and the Vitara Brezza. The hunch on the floor is also pretty flat. However, someone who is sitting in the middle may be a little uncomfortable thanks to these seat squab extensions. For 4 passengers, again, the Nexon is quite comfortable. There may be a fight for space if 3 people are sitting on the rear bench. The cabin inside the Tata Nexon also does feel a little more cramped as compared to the EcoSport and the Nexon, because these windows are slightly small and the C-pillar is rather long. So it does not really give that airy feeling inside this cabin when you compare it with that of the EcoSport and the Vitara Brezza. Now, despite the Nexon being the widest, there is most amount of shoulder room in the Vitara Brezza. In fact, this bench is also pretty flat, and sitting 3 adults in the rear seat of the Vitara Brezza is the most comfortable amongst all 3 contenders. For my height, the Vitara Brezza has the maximum headroom, which stands at 5 inches, and knee room, which stands at 7 inches. The Vitara Brezza also has the most airy cabin. In fact, the window panes are quite large and provide for a very roomy feeling inside the cabin. So I'm driving the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza right now, and the Brezza has been in the market for quite some time. It's powered by a 1.3 litre DDIS 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine. This diesel engine puts out approximately 88.5 bhp. That's kind of less compared to the competitors, and even when you drive it, that becomes quite apparent. So a peak torque of 200 Newton meters kicks in somewhere around 1750 RPM. So there is a definite lag which is noticeable when you're in the first gear, and you need to build the revs up till about 2000 RPM, after which the turbo kicks in and the vehicle gathers momentum pretty easily. Now, this is a very reliable unit, this 4-cylinder diesel in the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza, and in fact it is the most efficient as well. After driving all 3 vehicles, I feel that the steering in the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza is the best. It's been weighted really well. It's not too light, it's not too heavy either, and it's very responsive to driver inputs, very accurate. In terms of ease of driving a manual transmission, well, the clutch is the lightest in the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza, and the gears get slotted pretty easily. This also is a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine, just like the EcoSport. However, this engine puts out approximately 110 PS, that's about 108 odd HP, and it's pretty darn fast. It's rock solid, stable at high speeds, inspires a lot of confidence. Now, the gearbox is not the best in the business, but it definitely is smooth. So another handy feature which has been added on the Tata Nexon are drive modes. So you have 3 different drive modes, that's City, Sport and Economy. The reverse parking camera as well is pretty helpful. However, this reverse parking camera unit is not the best amongst the 3. Another advantage that the Nexon has over the EcoSport and the Brezza is that its ground clearance stands at 209 mm. That's 9 mm more than the Ford EcoSport, and even when we were driving the Nexon off-road, I felt that it performed much better than both the EcoSport and the Vitara Brezza. While driving off-road, we also felt that the Tata Nexon suspension really gobbled up all the bumps and undulations superbly, and it was the most stable off-road. While the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza is definitely the most fuel efficient amongst the lot, the Tata Nexon is the least fuel efficient, and in fact it has the smallest fuel tank as well. So it's got the least range amongst the 3. The Ford EcoSport has a much bigger fuel tank and its fuel efficiency stands a little below the Vitara Brezza, but it definitely has the best range amongst the 3. Now the Ford EcoSport is the most refined amongst the 3. In fact, the build quality of the EcoSport is much better than both the Vitara Brezza as well as the Tata Nexon. It definitely feels more premium than both the Brezza as well as the Nexon. Powering the EcoSport is a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged TDCi diesel engine. This diesel engine puts out approximately 100 HP at 3750 RPM and 205 Newton meters of torque at 1750 RPM. Now the Brezza puts out 200 Newton meters of torque at the same RPM, while the Tata Nexon puts out 260 Newton meters of torque at 1500 RPM. So definitely the Nexon has a more punchy feel to it. It takes a little while for the Brezza to get going, but this is a completely different case altogether, and I feel Ford has done a fabulous job with the tuning of this 1.5 litre diesel engine. The pickup is more gradual, feels a lot more matured in its mannerisms, and drives like a gem. The suspension on road in the Ford EcoSport as well is the best. In terms of maneuverability, the Tata Nexon is much better than the EcoSport and the Vitara Brezza. The Ford EcoSport has the largest turning circle radius of 5.3 meters. So adding to the smart appeal that the Ford EcoSport has going for it are 17-inch alloys which are being offered. The Brezza as well as the Nexon come with 16-inch alloy wheels. It also gets the best NVH levels amongst the 3. There is definitely a bit of the diesel rumble in all 3 vehicles seeping into the cabin, but road noise and wind noise are much more controlled in the Ford EcoSport, and it's more silent than both the Nexon as well as the Brezza. Amongst all 3 contenders, the Ford EcoSport inspired the most amount of confidence in me while braking from 100 kmph down to 0 kmph. So if you're looking for a hassle-free vehicle and you want a reliable product which is easy to maintain, easy on the pocket, and yet comes well kitted up, then the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza is definitely the choice for you. It does miss out on safety features which the EcoSport has, but then again, Maruti being Maruti offers a lot of value for their products at a very reasonable price point, and Maruti's after-sales service standards are pretty impeccable. So definitely Maruti Suzuki is the way to go if you want a reliable product which will come without any tassels. So if it's a peppy drive that you are looking for, then the Tata Nexon is by far the best bet you have. It's a really punchy engine, and Tata has tuned it very well. Picks up speed easily. It's quite stable while driving at high speeds as well. Ideal for the highways. It comes with a 6-speed manual transmission. So if you're looking for a mature product, solid build quality, safety is your #1 priority, and the price does not matter, well then the Ford EcoSport is your best bet as of today. amongst the 3 contenders that we have compared. We hope you liked this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it, and subscribe to the Motown India channel for more. If you want to know what we're up to, then please do follow us on Instagram and on Twitter for the latest automotive news, reviews, and updates. If you have any queries regarding these 3 products or any recommendations and suggestions, we are always yours. Do give us your feedback.